Hi everybody, once again back. However, this is not an unboxing video. As I've stated in previous videos, my life just sort of got crazy and I was trying to balance doing these videos, writing my movie review blog, and handling just regular life. And the life part of it got hard. And I said that once I got my life managed, I would come on here and tell everything that was going on. So on August the 1st, I checked my phone because it was ringing and I saw that it was a call from Honolulu. Now, the company I was working for in the time, we'll just call them Company A. It's based in Honolulu. However, whenever the bosses wanted to talk to me, they would typically contact me through Slack or Teams. They never ever actually called me. So the fact that I'm getting a phone call from Honolulu, I instantly got a sick feeling in my stomach. Why are you calling me? I'm online 24 hours a day. And my team lead lives in Florida. So if he was calling me, first of all, I have his number on my phone. It would have said his name. So there was no, so I'm sitting there going, this is not good. So I pick up the phone and the two big bosses are on and they say, Miss Tiffany, we're sorry, we lost our biggest contract. So we are eliminating your position at this time. They continue to talk, but at this point, I'm just annoyed and I want to get off the phone. It's the equivalent of being dumped and having to sit there and finish the meal with a person. Like, I don't want to have the rest of this conversation. However, once they finished talking and telling me how great I am and how they wanted me to continue if they did not lose his contract, and that was the only reason why they were letting me go. They thought I was a great employee. They then went on to say, we'll keep you on to August the 31st and we will pay out your PTO. At that time, I had about 6 weeks of PTO. And they said, we understand if you don't really do any more work because you have to focus on getting a new job. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm glad you already know that that's about to happen. Because if you give me this much time, you're pretty much giving me a month to find a new job. At that point, and then I asked them if I can keep my laptop. I've had the same laptop since I started working with them in 2019. So they were like, you know what? Because at first I asked, do I have to turn it in? Because if I had to turn it in, I needed to get information off of it because I use that laptop as my personal laptop. So I had to pull information off. So I said, do I have to give you guys this laptop back? And how soon do I have to give it back? They was like, you know what? You've had it since 2019. If it's still working, just keep it. You can keep it. You can have it as be your laptop. Like, cool. I got a laptop and I got my PTO. So I was fine with that. At this point, they actually contracted me to work with another company. We're going to call them Company B. So I have what's called a GFE. That is a government furnished laptop. That is a laptop that the government gives you. They own it. You have to constantly keep them up to date on what's going on with that laptop. You have to tell them what the laptop is at all times. And if you're in possession of all time, it's a headache. But once you get it, you got it. So I had one with them, and I also had a PIV card. I think it's a personal identification something, PIV card with that Company B. So I then had to contact Company B and let them know that the Company A was letting me go. I needed to turn in that laptop and I need to make arrangements to turn in my PIV card. At that point, Company B said, hey, and I said, or I said, if you guys want me to stay on and work with you guys and be hired by your company, I can keep this stuff and I don't have to turn it in. My contact person said, please get the laptop for right now. I would love to have you join our team. And I just had to like get everything in place. So I'm thinking to myself, cool. And so then I had a one-on-one conversation with her. She said, this isn't going to be an interview. I just need to get more information about you, your expected salary, things of that nature. She said, because I want to hire you. I think you're great. So at this point, all my stress went away. I then started working on studying for my AWS certification. I'm studying for the AWS Solutions Architect Professional because my certification ends in February of next year. So I was really focused on doing that. At this point, it had been like a week and a half. And then my contact person got in touch with me again. It's like, hey, I need to know if there's going to be a start date. Because if not, I need to start looking for work. Because I wasn't even looking for work at this point because I figured that, hey, I got this one in the bag. I don't have to do anything. And she was like, well, one of the guys are dragging their feet. It was her and two other guys. Her and one guy knew me. They had met me. They had knew my work. They knew everything about me. The other guy did not really know me. And so he's like, he wanted to get on the phone with you and have like an informal interview with like 4 other people on the call. I was like, okay, fine. So I did this. I had an informal interview. They asked me a bunch of questions. I answered them for them. And I did not hear back. And then at this point, I'm like, I spoke to my contact person that, look, I need to start looking for a job. I've given you guys 2 weeks now to give me notice. I haven't heard back. And she's like, just one of the guys is still dragging their feet. But she said, I understand. I started making arrangements. I said, I'm going to make arrangements to turn in my laptop. So if you guys have me on, I'm going to have to go through the process of getting it back. Just know that now. But I need to turn in this laptop. I can't keep it because it's a government thing. You can't get in trouble if you keep a laptop that belongs to the government. I get it. I've been in this field long enough to understand how that works. So I started looking for work, and I had 2 rules when I was looking for work. Number 1, I would fill out 10 applications a day, and that included weekends. And number 2, I would do my best to try to have 1 interview a day. Now, let's say I had an interview every day of the week but Wednesday, but I had 2 on Thursday. For me, that did not count as that Wednesday interview. If it was not on Wednesday, it did not count. So it didn't matter if I had, 5 interviews in one day, which happened. I had 5 interviews in one day. However, that was the rule I just set up for myself to make my life more manageable and to really go out here and get this job. Now, I was on sites like LinkedIn, Indeed. I was also on Glassdoor because I heard that was really great for tech jobs. For those who don't know, my title at the time was Senior DevOps Engineer, and that's D as in Delta, E as in Echo, V as in Victor, O as in Oscar, P as in Penelope, and S as in Sierra. So DevOps Engineer, that was my official title. So Glassdoor is a really great resource for that. Somehow I ended up on Build Submarine. I don't understand how that happened, but I ended up there. And then I got a couple other emails. So at that point, I was hitting the ground running. Now, I will say that I did get a little bit of severance from my company because my job ended on an odd week. So I get paid every other week. So imagine you get paid this week, you get paid this week. My job ended here. So what they did, instead of paying me for 1 week of work, they actually paid me for the 2 weeks. So I got 1 week severance that I wasn't expecting. So I was able to use that money to float me for half of September. And then I started using the money that I got from my PTO to float me because I figured that would give me 6 weeks. I did reduce my spending. That pretty much just stay at home. And when I did go to the movies, because I have that AMC A-List program, so $25 a month, you get 3 movies a week for free. And I just brought food in. I never bought food there again until I had some things in place. And then I just stay home. My biggest splurge was, it just happened that my birthday week was August 22nd. And I had already made plans. I had already purchased things before I lost my job. So these balls were already in motion. They were already paid for. But then you go to places, you buy a couple things. So that was my biggest splurge. And then in the process of all this going on, my youngest sister, Leslie, and her fiance are getting married in November. And I promised I would help them out. So before I lost my job, I wrote them a check. It had already been cashed, already gone through. But we were in the process of buying stuff for her tables. So table decor. I did not tell them that I lost my job because I did not want the added stress for her. I kept that all in. My mother, my father, my other sister, Nicole, and Nicole's husband, my brother-in-law, Russell, he knew. Those were the only people, and my friends. They all knew, but Leslie and Cordero did not know. And I wanted to keep it that way. I did not want them to stress out. I did not want them to feel like they couldn't help or their wedding had to be scaled down. I didn't think that was fair to do that. So in the process of me looking for a job, I had to keep that from them and help her plan her wedding. So was it stressful for me? Yes. But, I figured out a way to handle that. I still made videos, still wrote movie reviews, got that all done. Now, being on the job market is something I've never been comfortable with because I've always had something lined up. I haven't been without a job since I graduated from college. And the job that I had gotten after college let me go after like 3 months. And then within 2 weeks, I signed on with Lockheed Martin. So that was the first time I had been without a job. And I graduated from college in 2007. Ever since then, if you work for a big, huge company like Lockheed Martin, you don't have to really leave. Even if your program ends, you get put on the bench, which means we're still going to pay you as if you had a job, as long as you're looking for jobs within the company. And I have been on the bench with them for, I think it was 3 weeks at the most, but I was still getting paid, and they paid every single week. So you didn't worry about the fact that you weren't on a contract yet because you were getting paid. And I knew somebody had been on the bench for 6 months at Lockheed. But Lockheed saw they were actively looking for work, and they weren't lollygagging. So because they put so much money into getting you cleared, they keep you on the job no matter what. Unless you're not looking for work or you're not performing to the standard, then Lockheed will keep you on. The only reason why I left Lockheed is because my friends who had left said that, hey, you're not getting paid with your worth with Lockheed. I know you're comfortable. I know it's convenient, but you can be making so much more money if you left and went someplace else. And then they said, hey, wow, it can't hurt to interview. It can't hurt to get your resume out there and just see what the world has to offer. So I interviewed, and the first place I went to gave me $30,000 more a year. So I left Lockheed. And since then, I never was actually let go either. I left for more money, or I left because my old manager moved to another company, and he wanted me as well as a couple other people to come with him because he knew our work. And he's like, I know you guys will get up to speed. So he had us all come with him. So it's crazy when your manager moves, everybody moves with them because he's a good manager. So it had been a while since I had been like seriously just no job. This was the first time in a long time. So like I said, I was set on 10 applications a day, an interview a week. I reached out to my network and said, hey, I'm looking for a job. If you know anything, here's my resume. My friends got me interviews. Some of them didn't pan out. Some of them weren't what I wanted. Some of them didn't pay what I wanted. But all my friends came through with the interview for me. And that felt so good because people tell you to make your network, build your network. I have built a great network over the years, and I'm so proud of everyone that I know in this business. And they came through 100%. I love my friends. I have the best friends in the world. And one of my friends, I told her like, hey, I applied to this company. I feel like I'm getting ignored. She's like, hold on, I know a hiring manager there. I'll make sure you get pushed through. And I got an interview with them. So I'm not mad. My friends did a really great job with that. And I'm so proud of them for coming through for me as I would for them. Another technique I employed is that, you guys know I'm a huge convention person. I love conventions. If you go to any convention, there's always a sponsor page. A sponsor page is people who give the convention money to keep it up and running, and then they get extra things, like they get a huge booth, they get their names on certain items, like usually a lot of these places have like tote bags you can get to go around the expo, so their name will be on the side of the tote bag, along the bottom of the tote bag, so they have a whole page of sponsors. Now, how much, there's always a level for sponsors depending on who you're working with. I know AWS reInvent, they have like a platinum member, then a gold, and then silver members, and then you kind of go down the list. So what I would do is I would go to these convention websites and look for their sponsor page. And then I will go down, because most of the images are clickable and it'll take you straight to their website. So I would click on that, and then I would go to either their career page, their job page, or join us. All three of those are pretty much, here's where our listings are. So if you go to any of these pages and you look for the word career, jobs, or join us, you can then start searching for jobs directly for that company. I know LinkedIn has a lot of jobs, but sometimes posts can be a day or two old. They can be put on the bottom of the stack. With this one, if you fill out the information with that company, they have it on file. So that way, if they just searching their own company database, you're there. And it helps. Because for one company, I applied for one job, but they called me for another. So I did that. If I got any junk mail, I would actually look on their website and see if they had jobs. For instance, I got a junk mail for Cash App. Cash App is a technical finance company. So I actually looked on Cash App and started applying for jobs on Cash App. I got an email from my credit card company. I was like, let me look up for jobs at my credit card company. You know, I give them money. The least they can do is pay me. I did anything to get my name out there. I looked on USA Gov because they have job listings. USAjobs.gov, I think that's the name of the site. However, my friend told me it is better to fill out their resume builder, because the government thing doesn't scan. So if I put in a PDF or a doc of my resume just to have it on file, their system isn't smart enough yet to scan it and take out the information that it needs. So it's better for you to fill out the resume builder with the government, and that way it puts it in a database so they can search it later. So, pro tip, there you go. So I'm feeling like crazy. At this point, I started thinking my check is going to run out. All the money that I have saved out is going to eventually run out. So for the first time in my life, I had to fill information for unemployment, and I felt really bad about that. I felt like I had failed for some reason, because here I am with degrees and certifications, and I have to fill out unemployment, and that sucked, because I feel like I shouldn't have to get this help. However, like everyone I talked to about it was like, everyone's done it, Tiff. They say you put money into the system by paying your taxes. You're just getting your money back. And my mom was like, Tiff, it's not like you're not choosing to work. You're looking for a job. You're actively doing everything you can to find a job. You're not just trying to live off the government. You put that money in, you're just getting your money back. That's all. Now, I will say they did not make getting that check easy. You have to really show that you're trying to find a job. You have to join, resume building seminars, or take interview tests, or go to these, build your career seminars. Like, they don't make it easy to just get a check. And then for the first 2 checks I didn't get, and they was like, well, we don't see that you're looking for work. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm on LinkedIn every single day, and I'm filling out these things every single day. But what they wanted you to go through their website. My Department of Labor has their own job website. and they want you to actively apply for at least 3 jobs on their website a week, which is not that hard to find 3 a week. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's what I'm doing wrong. And then you had to fill out contacts. Once again, this is not something that's easy to find on the website, but you have to tell them like, hey, I got a call from this company, or I had an interview with this company. And you can't fill out ahead of time. So sometimes on a Monday, I knew I had an interview on Friday. I couldn't go in the system on Monday and say, hey, I have an interview on Friday. I had to fill out that information on Friday or put in the information. But when it came time for the interview, I would then fill it out on that Friday. So, excuse me. So they would ask you a couple questions. Like, oh, when was who did you contact? When was the date of the first contact? When did you schedule your interview? Then later on, when did you have your interview? And when's your start date if you got the job? At one point, I got an email from them saying, hey, if you don't come to our seminar on this day and this time, you won't get your check. Like, you have to jump through hoops to get this check. It is not easy, and I learned that. I just thought that you filled out paperwork and you told them, hey, I'm looking for a job, and you got a check. I didn't realize that so much stuff had to go through in order for you to get your checks. But I learned, and I'm grateful that I learned. Now, I will say that when you start looking for a job, you end up going down the rabbit hole of just scary stories, where it's like, oh, it took me 6 months to find a job. It took me a year to find a job. And then you start learning about ghost jobs. I'm telling you, I did not know ghost jobs was a thing. And it's pretty much when people put out fake listings for jobs that don't exist. They're either trying to build up their database with resumes. I heard there's like some government thing that they get credit for putting out jobs, even though they're not real. They get a government kickback from it. Or they're trying to apply for some other contract, and they just want to have resumes to pad their thing for that contract, and that's what they're using it for. So you heard about ghost jobs. The issue that I ran into a lot was that it looked like a real job, but then you find out you're actually applying to a staffing company, and that irked my nerves because you weren't applying for that job. You were just handing in your resume to a staffing company, and then they will call you and say, oh yeah, we had this 2-week job that's like an hour and a half away. You can't be remote. Oh, and by the way, you have to sign a contract that you won't try to apply for a job with them, or you face repercussions. It's like, wait, what? So if I have a potential interview that you set me up with Fannie Mae, I can't go on Fannie Mae's website and apply for a job. But it may not even be that job. And it's like, it doesn't matter. You can't do that, and you need to sign this contract. So it was that I had to start being careful of reading a description and trying to figure out whether or not they were a real company, a recruiter for a company, or they were a staffing company contracted to find someone, and therefore you were actually applying to a staffing company to just get your name in their database so they can look you up. I did not want a 2-month job. I did not want a 3-month job. I understand there's points where that. I understand there are reasons for that, but I need a permanent job because I have a permanent mortgage. Now, let's say I wanted some extra Christmas money. That's great. 2 to 3 month job will do it. If I'm someone who's a college student working over the summer, 2 or 3 months, perfect. You know, hey, there are points in your life where 2 to 3 months is good, but my mortgage is all year round, and I need a job that is all year round. So Wednesday, I believe that was October the 1st. I had one interview with a company. We'll call the company C. It felt like a really good interview. And they said, hey, we'll go through another round of these. I realize that now more than ever is that companies are having like 2 and 3 round interviews. I'll go back to the story I was telling before. But this whole rounds of interviews thing was like so stressful for me. Because let's say you're getting paid week 1, week 2, week 3. You can either get paid every single week, you can get paid on week 1 and week 3, or you can get paid on week 2. If I'm having 3 rounds of interviews, even if you come to me once a week, I'm missing either 1 to 3 paychecks by going interview after interview after interview. It's like, come on, you guys. You should know whether or not you want me within, honestly, 2 interviews. If we're going for 3 and 4 rounds, it's a bit much. And I'm honestly thinking you're just testing my patience. And it's just really very frustrating. Very frustrating. And then being I'm in a tech field, they want me to do like technical exams. And if you ever had to do that hacker website where it's like, oh, we're going to test you on this. They give you like a sample version. The sample version is like stupid easy. Honestly, it's stupid easy. It's that FizzBuzz game. So if any number is divisible by 3, you say fizz. If it's a number divisible by 5, you say buzz. If it's divisible by 3 and 5, you say fizz buzz. If it's any other number, say the number. You just program that game. That game is super easy to do. Then you would take the test and it was like, oh, well, the people can only read a certain number of pages in a book a day, but every page in the book has a different intelligence value. You have to figure out the best way to get the most number of pages read with the intelligence numbers value of the greatest and blah, blah. I'm like, wait, time out. What? Who's doing this? And then you don't know if they're just testing your scores, that you don't know if they're testing your syntax, your great comment section. You're not knowing what they're testing. It's up to them if they're actually going to read your code and see that, hey, this person had a workable solution, or they might have just like, failed some things, or if you're just seeing it as a pass fail type of deal. You don't know, and that becomes like this black hole. One company told me that my solution worked, but they just didn't like it. Okay, I don't know what to do with that, but all right. Then one company was like, hey, you can write it any way you want. I wrote it in Node.js, which is a programming language. I turned it in. It was like, okay, yeah, can you write it in Python? I was like, okay, I'll write it in Python. Sure. So I hated assessments because I don't think they're reflective of what you really know. And a lot of the assessment answers can be found online. And I actually told one company that. I said, you realize the answers to all these questions can be found online. And I think they try to be smart by you can't change tabs. But if I have this, I don't need to change tabs. I can search it online. I can search it on my phone. It's really not that hard to cheat on those exams. Now, did I cheat? No. I never cheated on those exams. But it is extremely easy. All you have to do is type in probably the first 10 to 20 words of the exam question, and the full workable solution will pop up. Because you have people like me who are sick and tired of these assessments that don't really test what you can do. It doesn't test how well I work with people. It doesn't test how I come to a solution to my problem. And honestly, a lot of stuff in tech is just, let me Google it and figure it out. Let me get on Stack Overflow and figure it out. Let me get on Reddit and figure it out. That's pretty much the tech field now. We know how to really Google well. That's pretty much it. But I'll go back to where I was. So October the 1st, I interviewed for a company C, and the interview went well. I was joking on the phone. I felt very relaxed. I felt very comfortable. Then I knew my sister was coming over to look at centerpieces for the wedding. She didn't like the ones that they had, so she's kept using the word, she wanted elegant and grand, which, let's be honest, she just said expensive and expensive. So I ran to Michael's and got some more flowers to fill it out and make it look huge and grand. And as I was coming home, I parked my car in the garage, looked at my phone, and it's like, oh, you have an interview right now. I was like, no, I checked my calendar this morning. I only had one interview. I did not pay attention that when I saved the second interview, it went to my Apple calendar instead of my Google calendar. So that's why I was getting it on my phone, but I didn't see it that day when I checked my Google calendar, because I checked my Google calendar. Now, typically I take anything that goes to Apple and I put it on my Google calendar, just cut and paste. But this one, I forgot to do it. So I ran into the house really quick. I had on a lime green t-shirt with Titan written across the front. It was for a computer chip for a company. And I got online. First of all, I apologized for being 3 minutes late. I said this interview went to another calendar. I did not check it. I apologized. And then I apologized for how I was dressed. If you can tell from behind me, I keep a suit jacket here so that I can throw it on. So I can throw it on something like this shirt that's black. And then I would have a necklace sitting here, which I since moved. I had necklace sitting here and I had earrings. So before I interview, I would pop in my earrings, I'll put on my necklace, I'll throw this jacket on, whatever I was wearing. It was usually something that was solid color, either black, white, or gray, and just throw it on. So I look completely unprofessional, and I apologize for being 3 minutes late. He actually laughed and said, you shouldn't have said anything because I was late. He said, we hopped on at the same time, you didn't notice. I felt like an idiot. But I think he was fine with the fact I took ownership of what I had done. So I interviewed with that company. And I was like, cool, that's my interviews for today. I double checked both calendars now to make sure I did not do that again. I then went on to the Maryland Department of Labor website. And I went ahead and I filled out the information about the 2 interviews I had that day. And as I'm doing this, my email pings. Company C sent me an offer letter. And they gave me 24 hours to fill it out and make a decision. I read through it. They were giving me more money than what I was asking for. And it's 100% remote. So I was like, yay. Because every company I was talking to was like, oh, you have to do 2 days here, 3 days at home, or 4 days here and 1 day at home. And they were like two hours, an hour and a half away driving. And I was like, oh no, I did not want to go back in. I'm much better working from home because I don't have to take off. If I'm working from home and I wake up in the morning, I don't feel good. But it can be one of the situations where I don't feel good, but I'm well enough to work. However, if I have to go into a regular 9 to 5, I don't want to make other people sick. So it's like, okay, I don't feel good. I have a cold. I can't go in. I have to take a sick day simply because I don't want to make other people sick. But I can still do my job. I'm not so sick that I can't work. So being that I work from home, I can be sick and still work. I just take my laptop to my bed. If they need to see my face, I put on the from here to here, I'm dressed. I look nice. I slap the cheeks, get some color in them, maybe put on some eyeliner and some mascara to hide the fact that I don't feel good. I drink my tea, I have the meeting, and then I go back into bed. Or if I need to go get something done to my car, I could just take my laptop with me and work in their waiting room while they're fixing my car. If I have to make a doctor's appointment, there have been plenty of times while I'm sitting there waiting for the doctor to come into the room and I'm working. I don't have to physically take off. If my mom needs me to take her to an appointment, as long as I have this for my hotspot, I can work in my car while she's at her appointment. So the small things that are pretty much life do not affect my job when I work from home. Now, I know some people just like the work atmosphere. They like to get around. They like to talk. They work better that way. I am not one of those people. Like, I understand the benefits of working from home. And I can still reach some same people on Slack. My team lead at my last job was a great guy. And we got to know each other through Slack conversations. And you can call people through Slack. I got to know him and his kids and his wife. I got to know everybody. And then every now and then you have like a meetup. Like, hey, let's have everybody come together and go to lunch. So that way we can actually see each other in person. I'm fine with that. I know some people like being at the job, and I know a lot of these companies just have long rental agreements. It's like, we have a 10-year rental agreement. We need y'all to come in the office or else we're losing money. That's pretty much how it goes. But me personally, I like working from home. This company does charity work, and I had a conversation with one of the bosses, and it was a great conversation. We joked, we laughed. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and sign on with this company. And so I signed. I canceled the 2 interviews I had that week, and then the one I had the next week, where I actually had to drive into the company and actually sit down and have a conversation with them. So at that point, I called my parents. I let them know. My sister was also, like I said, she was coming over to see the centerpieces that I had started putting together for her. I then let them know what I was going through. Finally, my sister and my brother-in-law, my future brother-in-law, felt awful. It's like all this time we did not know. I was like, that was the point. I did not want y'all to know. I did not want y'all to know what I was going through until now, when I had a solution. The same reason why I didn't tell you guys this. I'm the person that I will tell you my problem when I have a solution. If I don't feel like you can help, I don't tell you the problem. I told my friends my problems because they could help. I told my family my problems because they could help. I don't tell you a problem unless I feel like you can offer a solution. So I signed on with them. I then went to the next day, me and my mom, we actually went out to lunch together. It was supposed to be a lunch just to get me out the house. She kept telling me, Tiffany, you're not enjoying the time that you have. She's like, you need to just give yourself like a week break. She said, stop looking for jobs, stop interviewing for a little while, and just give yourself a break, because this will be over and you're not going to appreciate being able to just relax and not have to wake up early, not having to answer to anyone in the morning. She said, you should take a week and just take a break. But I couldn't get myself there mentally, simply because, I have a mortgage, I have a water bill, I have a light bill, I have a gas bill, I have a loan for my patio. This all has to get paid. And I can't borrow money from anybody because everybody in my life has their own family. They have their own thing. I could not do that. So it was on me. I had to find a job before all my money ran out. Now, I accomplished that. I still have some of my PTO check left because I officially went on the market September the 1st. I signed my contract on October the 2nd. So it took me a month and a day, 31 days to find a job. That is extremely fast, and I know that. Other people are not that lucky. I happen to be in a field that is very open to change. I'm grateful to be in a tech field, especially living in the area that I do. And I am extremely determined. So that is how my life got crazy for the past month and how I got through it. Another tip that my family gave me is that with Company A, I had a 401k plan. My mom was saying, hey, don't stress yourself out by not having money. She was like, if that's an issue, she said, don't roll it over to another 401k, because I have another one. I have a rollover 401k. Every single time I left the job, I put that money into my own rollover 401k. So that's grown over time. She said, instead of doing that, get the money from your Company A 401k, pay the taxes on it now, have it go into your bank account, and use that money to float you for the next couple of months. So that was the plan. I went ahead and I cashed it out. But funny thing is that I got a job before that check even hit my account yet. So I'm going to figure out what to do with that money. I'm going to probably end up putting it all into 401k anyway. Or I'm going to, pay off a little credit card debt. I'm probably going to wait until after the wedding and see how much debt I have from my sister's wedding. Pay that debt off and then put the rest of that into my rollover 401k. I know a lot of financial people looking at this going, that's really bad. I understand. I know the ramifications of what I'm doing. I don't plan on never not working. I love what I do. I see myself doing this when I'm 70 and 80 years old. I can't imagine not doing my job. I love my job, even if it's in a part-time capacity. I do see myself always doing this business and working and keeping my mind sharp, because that's just who I am as a person. I know there are people out there who want to retire at 40. More power to you. Please do what you feel is best in life. Me personally, having the mental stimulation keeps me on my toes. It gives me something to wake up for every single morning. It just keeps me in the process of always learning, especially in tech industry, because it changes so much, so much. So it just always keeps me focused, and I love it. But that's just me. I don't see myself not working. So that has been my life so far. Got told on August 1st I was going to be let go. My last day with company A was August the 31st. I did not really start interviewing outside of my own company until the third week of August. I've been looking for a job since then. Became officially unemployed September the 1st. And then signed my contract on October the 2nd. Yeah. I'm grateful for everyone who has stood by me through this and all the stress, and people who actually worried about me and cared about me and tried to get me to relax. It didn't work. However, these past 2 days, I have been doing nothing. I actually stayed in bed for 2 days and just relaxed and did nothing. I stayed in bed for 2 days, you guys, and did nothing. It was great. And today, the only thing I had planned is meeting up with my sister Nicole and talking through some wedding stuff for Leslie. But yeah, that's all I have planned for today. And I'm just going to veg out and watch TV and do nothing and relax until I start my job Monday, which is either tomorrow or today. It depends on when I post. I might post this on actual Monday, or I might post this today on a Sunday. We'll see. But yeah, that has been my crazy life that I've been hinting about in the past couple of videos. But I'm back and I am okay. And this too did pass. It shall pass, and it did pass. And I got through it, and I learned so much about the job market that everyone's out here dealing with. I'm very sorry that you have to deal with these ghost jobs and these rounds and rounds of interviews and fake postings and staff postings that made it look like real postings. I'm very sorry that you guys are having to deal with that right now. The struggle out here is real. People are saying that people don't want to work. There are plenty of people out here that are trying to work. And taking unemployment is not bad. Even if you feel guilty like me. Get the help. You put money into the system, get your money back, get help. And talk to your network. See who can help. Check sponsor pages, apply to actual companies. If you go on governmentjobs.com, use their resume builder, put your resume in the system. Do not just have them scan your PDF or your doc, because they physically cannot do it. But that is how I feel. And that is what I've been going through. So, in life, there's black and white. But with me, you get a very employed and happy shade of gray. Bye, guys.